Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the Tennessee State University football program 2002. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the Tennessee State University football program 2002, the head coach of the Tennessee State University Tigers, Coach JReese3. And of course, Coach Reese, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Well, it's good to be here, Dr. Haney.
And to tell you how delighted we are to have you here, Mr. Reese or Coach Reese, but at the same time to make you understand how very, very difficult it was in terms of trying to catch up with you and to bring you to this particular show. We know that you've been involved in doing an extraordinary number of things over the last several months, and we've tried to get in touch with you so that we could at least give our audience an opportunity to hear some information relative to the Tennessee State University football program 2002. But before we get into that, Coach Reese, let's give you an opportunity to talk about your background, your education, your experiences, and some of the information that you think our audience will be interested in, and then we'll get into the Tennessee State University football program.
Okay, well, I'm a native Nashvilleian. Attended White Creek High School, which and some people like to call it a small Tennessee State University. And as I was growing up, I always wanted to attend Tennessee State, and that's why I attended school and played football there for 4 years. And from there, while I was there, I studied in business administration and got my master's later on in administration and supervision. And after I finished playing, I became a graduate assistant. And from there, Coach Gillum hired me as a full-time running backs coach, and I was there with Coach Gillum, I was there with Coach Davis, I was there with L.C. Cole, being offensive coordinator his last year, and then I was blessed to have the opportunity to lead the program. I'm at home, so it's been a great place, been a great fit for me and my family. My wife Dawn, and I have 2 children, James and Michael, and everybody's here. My parents are just down the road in Chattanooga. Her parents are here, and my grandparents are here in the city, as well as my sister.
And so things are working out quite well for you in this position as the head coach of the Tennessee State University football program. You know, Coach Reese, I think that you've been so closely associated with the program for so many years that you so easily allow those names to simply roll off Coach Davis, Coach Gillum, Coach Cole, and etc. You've been associated with all of those individuals. Let's talk about the Tennessee State University football program within that perspective from what you've been able to achieve and that kind of information.
Well, when you're involved with different coaches, you try to take the best things that they've done and try to apply those things to your program if they fit what you're trying to do. And I was fortunate enough to be able to play for Coach Gillum and also work with him, and that's something that I wouldn't trade in for the world. And when he was dismissed, Coach Davis saw enough in me and a couple of other guys to keep around and keep on the staff, and just basically fit in and did our role, whatever my role was. If it was being a recruiting coordinator, if it was being a running back coach, whatever it may have been. And I had the same opportunity when Coach Cole came. And I just tried to take from the good things and learn from those, and even learn from the bad things and apply those things to our program where we can move forward and be successful.
Now, you saw during the tenure of these 3 coaches that you've talked about, I think you saw Tennessee State University move into not only a very, very healthy position within its conference, but at one time to actually win the conference championship within that. Talk about that and during that period.
Well, it was a great experience for us to go out and win the Ohio Valley Conference 2 years in a row. We got to the point where we had enough players and we felt that we were well-rounded enough, or we were diverse enough on our staff to go out and compete and put our players in the best possible position to be successful. And I think that's something that we're moving to now. With our program, we're in year 3 of a 4-year plan, and I think at this point we're probably a little bit ahead of schedule, which is good. But we know that every week we have to go out there and compete and have to make sure that our players are not also doing it on the field, but they definitely have to do it in the classroom if they're going to stay around and be able to play.
And so you're still active in trying to at least continue a tradition at Tennessee State University, dealing with not only the athletic aspects of your team, but also the academic aspects as well.
Yes, very important. These young men come to school not only to play football, but to come to school to get education. And we've been fortunate and blessed to have enough of our seniors come in and earn their degrees. And that's something that we put out there as a flagship. Last year, the whole athletics department won the conference banner for having the highest GPA. This past season, we had 14 seniors. Of those 14, 12 of those guys have graduated. So we look forward to that, and proud of our guys when they go out there and do exactly what they came to school to do, not only to play football, but to actually get their degree.
And so they are able to not only achieve the degree, but you've also had an opportunity during this period to see a number of the players from Tennessee State University to go into the professional ranks. Let's talk about that in terms of where you stand now and what you hope to achieve with the teams that you're working with now. Well,
as you know, Tennessee State has a long tradition of sending athletes to the NFL, and we've been fortunate. This past season, we had 3 young men get opportunities to go to the NFL via free agency. And the year before, we had 2 get that same opportunity. I think right now we have a total of 8 guys that are actually playing in the NFL that attended Tennessee State and graduated, and that's good. You know, we tell the guys we can't guarantee them that they're going to go to the next level, but we can give them the opportunity to come in and work hard, and if that's something that they can achieve along the way, then that's a blessing. But we can't promise them that. But we can tell them if that's what they want to do, we'll push them to be what they want to be.
In other words, simply coming from Tennessee State University does not, in a real sense, rule out the opportunity for a person to go into the NFL, as some people might think, because of the small schooling, et cetera, et cetera.
It doesn't rule it out. It doesn't matter where you go. It matters what you do when you get there.
And so it might be safe to say now that if you're good, there's no place that you can hide if they are looking for you in the NFL and et cetera. And so, and I think many athletes understand that now. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. If you're good enough, then they'll find you. We have NFL scouts in our program. Once we start practice, we'll have scouting there every day from August to October, November. Have a scout in there every day, looking at film, looking at the players, evaluating them, checking them once, checking them twice to make sure that everything is to their liking. Because once you get to the NFL, you know, it's a business at that point, and that's their job. So they do it. They do everything: character checks, background checks. Want to make sure he's going to school on time. How does he do in the weight room? How does he react with the trainer? How does he interact with his teammates? What type person is he? Is he quiet? Is he vocal? Is he outgoing? All that matters. And they get into their little war rooms and they decipher each and every person.
And so when we talk about the NFL draft and they say we want number 1 because of this, there's been quite a bit of activity that has gone into that whole process.
A whole lot of activity has gone on into each young man that is thinking about being drafted. They do a lot of checks and cross checks and rechecks have been done on that young man.
Very good. And of course, Coach, we're getting ready for our first commercial break, after which we'll come back and we'll give you an opportunity to talk about the Tennessee State University football program today and to talk about some of the prospects and the schedule and some of those other things. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. The topic is the Tennessee State University football program, and we're talking to Coach James Reese, the head football coach at Tennessee State University. And of course, Coach Reese, we promised that we'd give you an opportunity during this second segment to talk about the Tennessee State University football program from your own perspective, having had an opportunity to play under some of the individuals that we consider to be legends in Tennessee State University football. So let's do it from that perspective.
Well, at this point, it's hard to say that the program has come full circle because the foundation that has been laid for the program is so great. You had the guys that played in '56. You had the teams that Coach Marriott coached that never had a losing season. So that type of tradition, that type of burden to carry is tough. It's not something that you can say, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to turn this program around. Turn it around from what? Because Tennessee State has always been there. You know, a great football program, has a great football tradition. And that's something that's a torch that we have to carry. That's a torch that I challenge our young men today to carry. We try to sit them down and teach them about Coach Marriott and what he meant to Tennessee State and the Nashville community, about how everybody used to get up on Sunday morning and look forward to seeing the big John Marriott show and see him talk about TSU football and come to know it and be able to relate to it. And for me and one of my assistants, Coach Owens, having the opportunity to play for Coach Gillum gave us a link to that legendary person to that time, and we're able to share some of these things with the players that we have today and let them know that, you know, when you walk out on that field, you're just not walking out there for yourself. You represent Tennessee State, the players that came before you, the players that's going to come after you, and your family as well. So you're out there representing an institution. And I tell them our players all the time, the Tennessee State University football program is bigger than you. No one person makes that program up. And so we try to push those guys to be the best because we know the tradition that this program has and the tradition that we would like to see it maintained.
What about your schedule, Coach, in terms of looking over, I think that schedule has been finalized, and I'm not sure whether it has been published or whatever, but what about the schedule, since many folks will have an opportunity to see the show Sunday morning? What about your schedule here?
Well, we have 12 games scheduled at this point, and a lot of road games, but the important games are at home towards the end of the season. When we get into the conference, we'll open up with South Carolina State University in Orangeburg, and we'll come back and we'll play Prairie View in the John Marriott Classic, which has been a great tradition for us to start off the season. Unfortunately, we won't be able to start off the season with the John Marriott Classic this year. Then we'll go to Memphis in our annual Southern Heritage Classic versus Jackson State. Come back and we're scheduled to play Grambling in Las Vegas. Then we go to Atlanta and play Florida A&M in the Atlanta Football Classic, which has been a traditional game that we've played. And after we do that, then we'll get into our conference a little bit and we'll play Southeast Missouri in Cape Girardeau. And it's the first time we've been to Cape Girardeau in about 3 years, so that'll be interesting. Then we'll come back and we'll play Alabama A&M there for their homecoming. And after that, we'll have an off week, and then we get into the meat of our schedule. We'll open up with UT Martin for homecoming on October the 26th. Then we'll play Eastern Illinois at home. Then we'll go play Murray State. Then we'll come back and end the season with Tennessee Tech and Eastern Kentucky. And the Eastern Kentucky game is the Thursday night game in Adelphia. So we have a big task in front of us.
And all of these games, all these home games, will be played in Adelphia Stadium this year as last year.
Yes, all the home games will be played in Adelphia.
Now, you talked about the classics, and you're talking about the heritage, and you talking about some of the more popular cities in the southern parts of the United States, Atlanta, and et cetera. here you are able to draw some 60 and 70,000 persons for these particular games. Talk about that.
Well, it's a great time. We're able to, both of the classes that we go to traditionally, the Classic in Memphis and the Classic in Atlanta, they're equal distance between both the schools. In Memphis, it's 3 hours from Jackson, 3 hours from Tennessee State. Both schools have large alumni bases in the city of Memphis, and our fans like to travel. And anytime we get together along with the bands, it's just a great football atmosphere. Same with Florida A&M in Atlanta. It has been a traditional game for Tennessee State and Florida A&M to play, and I think a while ago we took a break for about 8 years, and the fans were eager to get it back. And once that game was reestablished, it has just taken off. And we've met in Atlanta and played for the last few years, and the fans have definitely came out, and the city of Atlanta has embraced it and come out. So I think that is a good atmosphere for our young men to go and play in and get the opportunity to play in 2 major cities, one being a pro facility, but we play at a pro facility at home, so they get kind of used to that.
Okay, and they really do. And of course, Coach Reese, when you talk about the heritage, the classics, and et cetera, over the last minute we have before we have this break, you're talking about not only a football game, but it seems that the whole city and all the entire region become involved in this kind of economic operation and enterprise and et cetera.
Those 2 games, the game in Memphis and the game in Atlanta, both cities have embraced both the games, and they have tremendous support, tremendous sponsorship, and they definitely have the people there, and they definitely come out and to see the teams play.
And so, Coach, we've got about a half minute left before we come to our 3rd segment for today. And so let's sort of prepare you for what we'd like to do during this final segment, as well as to sort of give our audience some idea of where we're trying to go in terms of getting this information. Let's have you during this last segment to talk about some of your prospects and your stars, which is to say that certainly you've got some individuals out there that you think ought to be highlighted, and it will do them good to hear their names in this particular situation. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Thank you and welcome back to this final segment of the show for today. The topic is the Tennessee State University Football Program 2002. And of course, we have with us the head coach of the Tennessee State University Football Program, Coach Reese. And of course, Coach Reese, we've got about 5.5 or 6 minutes during this last segment. And what we'd like to do is to give you an opportunity, as we indicated earlier, to talk about some of your stars and some of your prospects, but at the same time to say something about ticket sales and perhaps fan support and any other thing that you feel that you can get in within those few minutes.
Okay, let me start on the defensive side of the ball first. We have a young man returning who will be an all-star candidate named Jermaine Bill. He is from Atlanta, Georgia. He'll be a 4-year starter for us. He's been doing a good job. He plays every linebacker position that we have, and we're looking for great things out of him this year. In our secondary, we have Deion Giddens, who is be a 3-year starter returning. He's from Nashville, Tennessee, went to Glencliff High School, and he's been a welcome sight for us. On the other side, we have Scott Cunningham, who will be a junior as well, and he is from Orlando, Florida. And Scott is a real gritty guy, and we expect great things out of him. He'll replace Eric Joyce, which would be some big shoes to fill. Eric was one of those young men that signed with the NFL. He signed with the Arizona Cardinals this year. And on the defensive line, we have Desmond Scantlin, who is from Knoxville, Tennessee, will be one of our seniors, one of our leaders, and we expect real great things from him to be a leader and to show the guys and carry them through the rough times. And also on the other side of him, we'll have Brian Harris, another rush end who is from Gainesville, Florida, who is pretty much coming to his own. So those are a few of the guys on the defense side of the ball. On the offense side of the ball, everybody likes to talk about our receivers, so I'll start with those guys first, because every last one of them are back. They're great as a group, a real hard-working group. They're led by Patrick Jenkins, who is the senior of the group, the smallest one, but he's the leader of that group in terms of work ethic, in terms of getting the guys going. Alongside of him will be C.J. Johnson, who has been our leading receiver the past 2 years. He's from Nashville, Tennessee, Glencliff High School, and has been a welcome surprise and has continued year after year just to make plays. He'll be a 3-year starter. Also, we have Ron Jackson from Detroit, Michigan, who was a walk-on and earned a scholarship. He's one of the fastest guys on the team. And we have Carlos Wright, who is from Middleburg, Florida, another young man who has come along and has made great plays for us during the years. In the backfield, we returned Charles Anthony, who was our leading rusher last year as a true freshman. So we hope to have him back healthy and ready to go. And we'll have a hard time replacing our fullback, Karan Key, who is with the New York Giants right now. And we're going to try to replace him with a couple of guys, Adam Lindsay from Smyrna, Tennessee, and Ricky Gibbs from Miami, Florida. And then up front, the big guys that really get it done. It doesn't matter what we do unless the big guys are on point. And we have Rashad Shaw from Jackson, Tennessee. We have Wandale Cooper from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And those are two of the returning starters that we have, and two of the guys that will be counted on a whole lot. And the most coveted position, I guess people would say, would be the quarterback position. And right now, Kenny Irby ended the spring as our #1 quarterback, and he's here this summer trying to improve on some of the things that will make him be successful and allow him to lead and direct this team.
And so, Coach, it seems that you've just about laid out an all-star team there, and you've got so much confidence, it seems, in these young players, and you think that they're going to lead Tennessee State University well this year.
I think they'll do well. I think that we are in a position now. We only have 8 seniors on this team, 8 to 10. I'm sorry, I had 10 seniors on this team. But the majority of the guys that are in the front line position are guys that are juniors and our sophomores. Our 10 seniors do play, and I forgot one on which would be Steve Farm, our tight end, who was all conference last year. And we expect big things from him because he has the potential to go to the next level, and that's where we want to go. So we're going to try to push him as much as we can, but he knows that he's going to have to play within the scope of the offense, and because in the past we haven't used a bunch of tight end sets, when we're blessed to have him where we can. So he's a true tight end. But we have great confidence in these young men. They're here this summer working hard, extremely hard, in the weight room and running, and as they prepare to report to camp. And we'll start practice on August the 7th.
Say something about your fan support and your ticket sales. Oh, we got about half a minute.
Okay, well, right now season tickets are on sale, and you can get those at our ticket office. That number is 963-5841, and we look forward to seeing all you fans out to support us at home. I know you guys like to go on the road, but we need your support at home as well.
And so you'll be playing in Adelphia Stadium again this year, and that's your home stadium now.
That's our home stadium, Adelphia Coliseum, or whatever they decide to name it. We'll be right there.
That's where you. Okay, very good. And Coach, let me thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent information today about the Tennessee State University football program. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition. Thank you, and good morning.